Drivers, start your engines. You are now listening to the fastest show on iSports Radio. My name is Daryl Kinsey Jr. welcoming you to take another lap of the extra mile for today, June the 3rd, 2021. And ladies and gentlemen, I think we are still buzzing from what happened there in the Indy 500. Had a Coke 600 too, where Hendrick Motorsports, they set another record, and that team is looking to dominate the last season of the Gen 6 car. Also have Formula 1 coming back this weekend, and all eyes are going to be on what can Mercedes do to gain back the advantage that Red Bull has in both standings. Now, usually this would be the time where I welcome in my co-host, but unfortunately, we do not have Christopher Lehman today. Unfortunately, he hurt his hand. Still working with one hand right now after hurting it a couple of weeks ago, so he will not be with us this evening. Michael Ward, though, is on his way. He will be joining us here in a little bit, but until then, you've got me. So it's just like old times as we get ready to start the program. Got IndyCar. I actually got the full slate of series to get to. Got some H1 Unlimited news today, as well as they are actually getting ready tomorrow to go into spring training, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. If you followed me on Twitter, though, before we get into the show at DK Junior 12, you know that I had a heck of a time trying to get the internet to actually work here, as inexplicably during the afternoon we lost internet and TV. And the new thing they're doing now is they've got the cable boxes. You've got the one big box that's hooked into the wall, but you've got the other boxes throughout the house that are connected by Wi-Fi. And what it does is it beams the signal from the cable box to the tiny boxes in your house. And we've got like 3 of those, and we got the one big box in the living room. That's all well and good until the giant box things they put in your garage, when those start acting up. This one acted up again today, and we inexplicably lost internet. So fought to try and get it back going, got it going, went out again. Spent 2 hours trying to get this stupid thing to work. And to cut a lot of the story down, to actually get it to work so I could, above other things, do the show tonight, had to actually go into the basement, unplug it for 10 seconds, plug it back in. System worked perfectly. I don't know why that works. I don't know why that continues to work. But with technology, turning it off and turning it back on again sometimes saves you from a lot of problems, and in my case, 2 hours of headache. So we're here. I got Christopher and Taryn in the chat room. He just made a comment about the Indy 500, which we'll get to. Chris, thank you, sir, for the good luck. You'll definitely be able to listen to this tomorrow. Hope you're doing good with the hand, man. That just sucks. And hope to get you back here on the network. And as I say that, I won't have to be by myself for very long, because my co-host, Michael Ward, has just called into the program. Michael, do we got you?
Yeah, how are you?
I'm doing great. Good to hear from you once again. So now we can go ahead and get started officially, and we can go in with the Indy 500, which was a race I will say was one of youth versus experience. And I'll also say, before we get into what happened in the race, after a year plus of no fans, God, it felt good to see fans at that facility on Sunday.
Yeah, it did. It really did. Almost kind of jarring in a way because I had gotten used to it, just not seeing fans in the stands.
And I feel that too. You get used to it, but at the same time, it's a lot better when you get the folks in there and at the end of the race, everybody's going crazy. The winner is going crazy, which we'll get to presently. That race was a run of youth versus experience, where you had Renus VK and Colton Herta up there leading early. Scott Dixon, the KG veteran, really let the youngins go on and tried to ride there in third. Unfortunately, ran out of fuel after the first caution because Stefan Wilson, had an issue with his brakes in pit road, which was another story of the day, which was a lot of weird brake failures coming into pit road, which was odd because we didn't have a lot of issues with temperature. It was actually one of the cooler Indy 500s that we've had in memory because of that gigantic cold front that came through. But at the end of the day, it comes down to Alex Palou versus Helio Castroneves. And for a record-tying fourth time, Helio Castroneves is an Indy 500 winner. And Michael, the celebration that followed will go down in IndyCar history. I don't think I've seen someone that excited to win the Indy 500. And that's saying a lot.
Yeah, it's crazy. He job well done. He was up there fighting amongst everybody for the longest, and that celebration was definitely something else. I was definitely happy to see that with the fans in the grandstands, him climbing the fence. It was just something magical about it, Daryl.
There really was, and it really shows why fans are so important because they just seem to feed that energy. You get Elio climbing the fence, and then he starts running up the front stretch. You got the drivers and the team owners and Mario Andretti congratulating him. His other competitors also congratulating Elio. You got that awesome shot of Michael Shank as Elio's coming back with the car, jumping off the wall in celebration. There's just so many moments to talk about, but one of my favorite, he actually had strawberry milk to go with the pink fire suit. He had the strawberry skim milk, which I said, if I were to ever win the Indy 500, I would have strawberry milk. And Elio actually did it. And I'm so happy the Strawberry Milk Gang got represented in the celebration of the Indy 500.
Okay, so I thought I was going crazy, and when I saw him drinking the milk, I was like, "Is that strawberry milk?" I just thought it was some weird stuff with the lighting because I didn't believe that happened, but I'm glad you clarified that.
Yep, actual strawberry milk. And it was exciting to see Elio win. He's been trying to get this win, this fourth win, to join that esteemed club of 4 Indy 500 winners because this race is just so difficult to try and win. He won his third in 2009. And I think everything that, he tried, sometimes he didn't have the speed. Sometimes there'd be incidents. Sometimes he'd get overtaken late. You didn't think it was going to happen, but it finally happened. He passed Alex Palou with 2 laps to go, and he did it in the Dragon Speed, the old Dragon Speed chassis, which was the slowest car in the 500 in 2020, which is a race I barely really remember just with all the craziness of 2020. But it's funny that Michael Shank Racing bought that car, and now they've won the Indy 500 with it.
Yeah, it's crazy that they won the Indy 500 with that third new car. It was crazy, but it's a combination of Michael Shank Racing, the driver, and the crew that's over the wall because all those great parties coming together produced a great victory. So congratulations to them for winning this momentous race.
So, Michael, what was your favorite part of the 500? 'Cause there's a lot of it to go over.
Well, my least favorite is Scott Dixon not really being able to be in it, but I have to say my favorite was I guess the overtaking and the battling that happened throughout the field. If it's one thing I like about the Indianapolis 500, it's that there's a lot of passing, and some of these passes are very dramatic to watch. Some of them are 3 wide, some of them are last minute, and honestly, it's just the racing in general. That's my favorite part of the Indianapolis 500, just the racing.
We did have better racing this year. They did make some changes to the aero, but I think one of the reasons why the passing was so good is because what I said earlier, it was a lot cooler. In the last couple of years, it's been 90, 95 degrees at the Indy 500. And of course, for those that don't know and are listening for the first time, race cars usually don't like high temperatures. They like it in that 70 degree range. The tires do too. It gets greasy once you get over 90 degrees, but it was in the 60s and 70s most of the day. The track temperature, I think, got into the low 100s near the end, but it allowed for, it wasn't a lot of tire degradation, which meant you could still catch someone, and there was a lot of great passes, including the one we saw with 2 to go, where Elio Castroneves and Alex Palou, they're trading the lead over the last 20 laps, and Elio just goes sailing around the outside into turn 1, had to get it done, and managed to hold on for his 4th Indy 500 win. It wasn't all sunshine, though, especially for, as we said, Scott Dixon, who ran into issues, got trapped a lap down, was only able to get back to 17th, ended up losing the championship lead to his teammate Alex Palou, and also going through a team that everyone was looking forward to. Simona Di Silvestro and the Paretta Autosport team had issues with the brakes coming on the pit road, hit the wall, was unable to continue, officially finished 31st in the Indy 500. And that, Michael, was just a shame to see that team that was really built up during the month have an inglorious finish.
Yeah, it was really a shame to see that happen. I was so hyped to see Simona back in IndyCar, and very, very, very saddened to see them have that issue there. But that's kind of the way motorsports works. You don't really know what will happen on the track, and sometimes, the months and months and months that you put in to getting the car prepared just sometimes doesn't work out.
And we're hoping we can see this team go full-time eventually. That's what Paretta wants to do. That's the majority women on that team. Most people in the higher-up positions are women. The over-the-wall crew, most of them are women. Simona Di Silvestro, of course, driving the race car. That team has an alliance with Penske, and I think we're all hoping that team can get on track for more races, but it's hard trying to make your first appearance at the Indy 500, where we've seen teams that have run for years not make the show. Just getting into the show for them was awesome. Hopefully, we will see them back in a full-time capacity soon. It was going to take a little bit for that, of course, as these teams have to get built up. But we'll see. I would like to see more female representation in motorsports in general, and hopefully get them into some higher quality rides. We've seen that some rides that women get in racing aren't exactly the best.
Yeah, I can agree with you there, Daryl. Some of the best. I would definitely like to see some of these women out here definitely get some better equipment underneath their feet, just to see what they can do, because sometimes the the worst of equipment, you can barely do anything. Look at Formula One. You have some of the best drivers in the world, and they'll get a Haas and they can't finish in the points. So definitely can't wait to see what some people can do in maybe Penske or Andretti equipment.
So we'll see how that team develops. But we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to continue our review of the Memorial Day 1100 by talking about the Coke 600. And, oh boy, did Hendrick put a whooping on everybody. We'll talk about that on the other side of this break here on the Extra Mile on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hey guys, it's Blake Henley, better known as H-Town Blake to some of you. Happy to announce that Bases Loaded is back in full force. We'll be bringing that high heat every Tuesday night here on IE Sports Radio. So come home, get ready, dig into that batter's box, and see if you can chase that high heat, baby. So we'll be coming to you live with all the stats, all the rundowns, all the division rivalries, and every team that's going to make the playoff push to get to that one and only October and get to the pinnacle of what baseball is, to hoist that Commissioner's Trophy when it's all said and done.
What's good, fight fans? It's your boy, Marcus Los Great, here to give you what you want, here to give you what you need. Yeah, man. Yeah. I'm coming to you live, straight from your mama's basement with a crispy, awesome white tea. We are coming to you live every Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
And we are back here in the Extra Mile on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Daryl and Michael here with you this evening. No Chris this evening. He's resting his hand. We will talk to him next week, of course. We're going to get into the second part of the Memorial Day 1100, which was, of course, the Coke 600, which is not, I'm just going to say it's not exciting, as exciting as the Indy 500. It is a 400...
Hey, sports fan.
Sorry about that. It's a 600 lap race. Or not 600 lap race, 400 lap race. Sorry about that there with the technical difficulty. But it's a 400 lap race on a mile and a half. And usually in this race, someone typically dominates the entire thing or dominates most of it. And guys got to go out there and catch them. Sometimes, unfortunately, they don't catch him. And this time, Kyle Larson was out there, and he shellacked the field on the way to win the Coke 600. And Michael, Hendrick Motorsports, we were talking about during the break, I don't know where this form came from, but they are swinging hammers as we go into the summer session here in the NASCAR season.
Yeah, it's almost as if a fire has lit in them. They've been winning I think the last 3 races, and they've had another 1, 2, 3, 4. It's just, it is insane right now how dominant their cars are. And I don't know if anybody can stop them. I don't know where this form came from. I don't know if they pulled a Micro Waltrip and put jet fuel in the car or anything like that, or this is just crazy.
It kind of came out of nowhere as they were having an okay start of the year. They had some missteps. We saw that Chase Elliott should have won the Daytona Road Course. The O'Reilly Auto Parts 253 didn't. Then William Byron jumps out there, wins the Dixie Vodka 400. The next week, Kyle Larson wins in Las Vegas. And then there was a little bit of a lull. We saw the JGRs, Penske start to come up and get a couple of wins. Then Alex Bowman wins at Richmond, and they get more Penske, more JGR, and then Bowman wins at Dover. Chase Elliott at a road course, of course, wins the race, and then Kyle Larson puts the shellacking on them at at Charlotte, trying to get the laps total, but NASCAR.com has changed their stuff, so I have to fiddle around with things. So give me a second here, but they broke on Sunday the all-time wins record that used to be held by Richard Petty Motorsports, which was 268. They tied that last week. They've now won 269 races as an organization. Larson led 327 of the 400 laps. And they almost went 1, 2, 3, 4 again. The only driver to stop them from doing that was Kyle Busch, who finished 4th. This team has hit on something with this Chevrolet package, and they are running roughshod over the sport right now. As Larson is starting to get back to that Hall of Fame trajectory that he had with Ganassi. Chase Elliott, the defending champion, starting to wake up, and Byron and Bowman are starting to develop. Michael, I can't remember when all 4 Hendrick cars were this good at the same time.
It's been a very long time since they were all the cars were this good, and it's a bit of a shocker and a bit of a wake-up call to some of these other teams, because it's like, hey, Hendricks, they're kind of stomping us out here. We gotta definitely get up there and start beating them too, because it's just nobody really wants this to be a Hendrick domination fiasco. So I want to see the retaliation between the rest of the pack, seeing if they can catch up to Hendrick, because as of right now, Hendrick is just smacking them down right now, and this is going to be a very short championship if they let this continue.
It is going to, I'm not going to say going to be interesting, but the other teams have been put on notice, and my wonder is how long can they keep this form up? This is a magical run that they've been on, and usually you would say a team would come back down to earth, but we've seen this before out of them, like in 2007 when Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson were running roughshod over the sport, that they can hold this form for a long time once they hit on something. And right now, they've got all 4 cars cooking, as I've said. But on the other side, we've got teams like, unfortunately, Rick Ware Racing and MBM, whose cars were in the spotlight for a different reason, because it felt like every 10 laps, and for one car it was actually every 13, the 66 and the 52 were getting lapped to the point people couldn't figure out if they were actually running at the actual minimum speed. We've had a conversation about slower cars a lot this season, and now it's come to the point of, we get the charter thing, but these cars, David Starr was in the 66, Josh Bilicki in the 52, Michael, we've seen them run. They don't have a lot of speed. You know, the only reason they weren't last is because Ross Chastain and Kurt Busch ran into engine issues. And Ross Chastain was hundreds of laps down. Starr and Bilicki have become the focal point of the issue of cars that should not be in the race getting into the race and basically becoming a hazard. And I want to ask you, what do you think NASCAR can really do about it?
I don't really know. I would say, like, make it back to where you have to race your way in. So that, you know, if your car is too slow, well, you just don't get in. And it's just, that's the only way I can say it. So, like, maybe get rid of the charter system and make it so that, you know, if you got the speed, you're in. If you don't, you can't. And because we really don't want to see people just lagging around in the back of the pack. You want to see people racing and contending for points and, you know, positions. So I would say maybe get rid of it, or maybe make it so that you can race your way in, or owner points or something. I'm not too sure what you can do.
Well, you don't want to chop down the field again, because you have to chop it down. If you chop it down to 36, then only the charter cars get in, and that defeats the purpose of what we're doing here. But this can't continue like this, with these slow cars getting in the way, sometimes affecting battles for position, as we saw Martin Truex late in the race. And you know what that guy's had to say about traffic. It's just a frustration right now that those teams are seeing. They're not, it doesn't feel like they're getting better. And a lot of people basically just want to see them off the track. I know Christopher has said, you know, at some point, once you're 10 laps off the field, you know, 10 laps off the leader, they need to park you. I wouldn't want to go there, but if you're that slow, you probably don't need to be on the track, because at that point, you're just a hazard. And with a race as long as Coke 600, stuff like that is magnified.
Yeah, because it's a long race. You're driving out there. You're becoming an obstacle course when somebody's chasing down another car. You're basically a mobile chicane, and nobody wants to deal with a mobile chicane for about 400 laps. So I can really understand that there.
Yeah, I would like those teams to get better, but they're just. It's got to happen faster. I mean, this is not... Maybe with the next gen, things will be a bit different, but even then, it won't be early. It's just a general frustration that the NASCAR fans have, although, judging by Twitter, it doesn't take a lot to get them generally frustrated. But
no, it doesn't.
Another good thing I will say, 2311 Racing actually had a good day, Michael.
Yeah, they had a very good day. And it also brings me up... well, actually, you can go ahead and talk, but I have something I would like to talk to you on the show about.
Well, go ahead.
So, I heard a rumor, very interesting rumor on the 2311 subreddit. And I'm hearing a lot of rumors that Kurt Busch might be in a second 2311 car.
That has been a rumor now for the last week, and it all comes down to whether or not they can get, of course, one of these charters. They would like to have both cars with a charter because you can make a lot more money that way than running a non-chartered entry. And, of course, the chartered entry also has guaranteed entry into all the races. The non-chartered one doesn't. A lot of people like this system to go away because it stunts how many cars can be in the series. I don't necessarily disagree, but it is what it is right now. I would like to see Kurt Busch over there get a good veteran presence over there to help speed up Bubba's development. We can see, though, that that team is starting to gel. I was listening to their radio for most of the event, and it was the calmest, I think, I've heard Mike Wheeler and Bubba Wallace communicate. They were in the top 10 at one point in stage, I think 3 that was. Unfortunately, speeding penalty sent them to the back. They were able to rally back for 14th, but they ran all the laps on the lead lap, which is important, and for the most part, they finished the day. And they finished 4 positions higher than when they started. Those are important check boxes that this team has to mark off. And Michael, I think they did it.
Yeah, they were definitely doing something good to definitely warrant that position. And I think at the end of the day, it really just comes down to development and getting to know your team and just working with each other. I knew they weren't going to, hit the ground running. And I knew there was going to be a lot of development that needed to happen. But it's great to see that it's starting to take shape, Daryl.
We will see how that goes into next week, as it is a road course, and we know how Bubba Wallace just enjoys his road courses. We'll see how that goes on Sunday. And before we go, did you see any of the NASCAR Invitational at the virtual Chicago Street Circuit?
No, I didn't. How was it?
It was a race, I can say that. I caught a little bit of it at the end. It's hard to tell how this will look at real life when the next-gen car doesn't even have its real physics, air quotes, in iRacing, because they're still testing it. They actually had more wheel force testing with all 3 cars yesterday. So it's hard to tell how this thing is going to look, how it's going to drive. They're trying the street course thing, and we'll see if it bears fruit. But we'll be right back. When we come back, we'll get into the previews for this week's racing, including H1 Unlimited Hydroplane getting ready to start their season with a special event tomorrow. We'll be right back here on iSports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's up, everybody? This is Taryn Rodriguez. Are you a fan of volleyball? Are you a fan of Thunder Spikes? Then I have the show for you. Set Point, where I cover NCAA men's and women's volleyball, high school boys and girls volleyball, beach volleyball, and even professional volleyball. Catch the action every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Attention, all sports fans! If you're someone who wakes up each morning with lists of sporting events to go along with your to-do list for the day, then you just might be a diehard. The world of sports is as vast as the ocean is deep, including the major leagues, the minor leagues, the colleges, and everything in between. This is me, your boy Larry B of IE Sports Radio, welcoming you to join me every Monday evening at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern on The Defining Moment, a show that focuses on what really matters in the sports world, sports themselves, and nothing outside of them. Once again, tune in for The Defining Moment with me, your boy Larry B, every Monday evening at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern on IE Sports Radio, right here on Spreaker.com. We'll see you there.
And we are back here on Extra Mile on the IE Sports Radio. Your feed for all that is sports. Daryl and Michael here with you. Going to get into our previews for the weekend. And we're going to get started, of course, with a motorsport that we don't cover often, mainly because there's not a lot going on in it at the moment, but that is starting to change. As H1 Unlimited hydroplanes getting ready for their spring training. That will be held tomorrow in Kennewick, Washington. About a half a dozen boats will be at the dock for a full day of testing, and that comes up before the Guntersville Lake Hydro Fest, which will be 2 weeks later. Yours truly is going. I cannot wait. I've never seen a hydroplane race before, and I am excited to see this. I'm still working on whether or not there's going to be a stream for that event. That will be worked out between today and tomorrow, either a local station in Seattle or not in Seattle, sorry, in the Kennewick area, or H1 Unlimited themselves will be streaming spring training tomorrow. But to bring up the H1 Unlimited hydroplanes, Michael, I got a question for you. Did you know that National Harbor actually played host to some unlimited hydroplanes?
Get out. Really?
Yeah. In 2011, the boats were getting ready to leave from... Actually, they were heading down to Florida to go over to Dubai because they had a race in Dubai at one point to end the season. But that's a story for another day. They brought the boats to National Harbor here near, actually right down the street from us here in Prince George's County. So I cannot remember. Or Oxon Hill, sorry. Had a massive brain fart there. But over in Oxon Hill, they ran to National Harbor, and a few of the boats actually took laps around the water there on the Potomac River. It was a exhibition event. There was really no racing going on. They just had the boats go around for testing matters. It really didn't, well, for a lot of different reasons. One, it wasn't really promoted that it was happening. And also the weather that day was awful. Didn't really play into any races, but looking at that area and how the harbor is set up, that would be a perfect place for H1 on the Potomac.
Yeah, tell them to come back.
I'm trying to. Got to find some people that are interested in sponsoring a boat race. Maybe we can make something happen there. I would love to see another East Coast race. I am not a CEO of a
company, but I will sign my name and put a little star on the side of somebody's boat.
Look, I will do what I have to promote this, just to get it here. You have got to see these things in real life. They are 200 miles per hour on the water boats. It is exciting deck-to-deck action. If you've never been to a boat race, please go see it. You will not regret going to a boat race. It's a full day of action. You should go check it out. I'm going to go see my first one in a couple of weeks. Can't wait to get down there. I really can't. But it's going to be interesting to see how that season goes. Dave Villwalk coming out of retirement. Got some news that Jimmy Shane may not be at the first race. That is your defending champion from 2019. But due to COVID-19, there's a little bit of finagling going on with the boats and the schedule. So the U1 may not be in Guntersville. We'll see what that happens, or we'll see how that news develops over the next couple of weeks. So let's get into the other racing. We'll start with Formula One, and it's been a week since we've talked about it. We just finished up with Monaco, heading into Azerbaijan. Michael, this is a race this weekend where Mercedes, they have to hit back. As they've been punched in the mouth now by, well, I was going to say by Red Bull, but it was one half Red Bull, one half themselves. They've got to rebound here.
Yeah, they definitely do, and this is a great track for them to pull it off at. Azerbaijan's despite the look of a street circuit, it is definitely a power circuit with the long front stretch and the other long back stretch leading into the castle section. So they have definitely some chances to utilize that power section. Although I feel like Red Bull will be able to clap back with their definitely great arrow. So it's going to be a close race. I'm not too sure how well it's going to go because I heard that Bottas couldn't make it into the race, but apparently he actually managed to get there.
Bottas did make it. So he is in Azerbaijan. Apparently he missed his flight because if anything that guy needs, it's more bad luck.
I mean, he's now holds the record for the longest pit stop ever.
Yep, 43 hours, that pit stop. Because the tire would not come off. A lot of controversy about what happened with that wheel nut. And it just comes to show conversation that we've had over the last couple of weeks with Red Bull, now we're having with Mercedes. They've got some second driver blues going on over there with Bottas because he wants to be in this championship fight, even though he's not really in the championship fight, if we're going to be honest, because Lewis Hamilton is a much better driver, just to be honest. But you've got the issue of Perez and Bottas. Both the drivers are not on the same caliber as their teammate, but Perez is starting to find his form in the Red Bull, and Bottas is sliding off a cliff if a meteor doesn't run into him during the race. That's just how poor his luck has been. That could end up costing Mercedes, and I already said this once, and they already had the race where they crapped the bed. Mercedes cannot do Monaco a second time this season. They will lose both championships if they have another Monaco this season.
Definitely, and not to mention, you still have some teams that are still trying to chomp at the bit at that championship fight, like McLaren. They're still doing well, and also Ferrari seems to be getting faster and faster. So Bottas definitely has to step it up. Otherwise, he could be challenged by those behind him, and it'll be crazy to see Bottas get overtaken by a McLaren or a Ferrari.
You've also got to wonder, Ferrari had great pace until Leclerc did not even start the race, which that is a conversation that's just a head shaker, that whole situation. You got to wonder, is that pace for real with Ferrari, or was that just a Monaco thing? If that pace is for real, this just got harder for whatever team doesn't have a good week between Mercedes and Red Bull, because now you have the Ferraris to deal with and also the McLarens, which are surging into this fight.
Yeah, it's gonna be almost it's definitely gonna be a four-way fight like it's always been, but it's definitely looked a lot more closer. It's definitely a lot Mercedes stomping out the field. It's definitely some drivers playing a big part in this, and I definitely wonder what these teams are gonna do to get to interfere with this championship, because I feel like Norris has some things to say. I feel like Leclerc has some things to say. I feel like Sainz has some things to say. So who knows, Daryl? This championship, it may be a Mercedes v Red Bull fight, but I wouldn't put it past some of these teams. Maybe chomping at the bit to make some noise happen. And if they do, it can definitely be a spoiler for those trying to fight in the championship.
Yeah, they could really play spoiler. And you've got two strong teams right now, Mercedes and Ferrari, that are trying to show, hey, we're still here. Worst case scenario would be if one of those teams luck up and takes a win off of Mercedes or Red Bull. 'Cause that's going to be 25 valuable points that you won't be able to get back. And every point is going to matter for Verstappen and Hamilton. We've spoken about it at length at the beginning of the season, but definitely as we're getting into it and how these two drivers have been running, it's going to be tight. And I think it's going to come down to the last corner at Abu Dhabi. And every point that you can gather between now and then is going to be extremely important.
Definitely. It's going to be hugely important. And this is definitely the rule of F1. Every point matters. And so you're going to see people do some crazy things for effectively 1 point or 2 points or 3. You're going to see some people pull off some crazy strategies like pit on the last lap to try to get the fastest lap so you can get that extra bonus point. You're going to see some desperate acts here in the world of Formula One, all for the points. That's the main thing drivers are thinking about. Points, points, points.
And we'll move away from Formula One into the other race this weekend, which is NASCAR. And they're going to Sonoma for the first time, what feels like forever. One of the tracks we did not go to last year due to COVID-19. But we will be racing once again the Toyota Save Mart 350. 90 laps will be the distance. Another road course out west. And this is the most technical road course I think they have on the schedule, other than the Charlotte Roval. There's not going to be a lot of speed here, and it's extremely tough to pass. So you're going to see a lot of muscling. You're going to see a lot of people getting moved out the way, and you're going to see a lot of pit strategy because you don't have time to sit around. Because if you get stuck behind somebody, what usually happens at these road courses, you'll start running their pace, and you're going to lose touch with the leaders real quickly at Sonoma.
Yep. And in some cases, that's lead to some people giving somebody the bumper. But hopefully that doesn't happen this weekend, although it probably will. Let's not lie. But it's all great racing all the same.
Yep, Martin Truex has 2 wins here. Last 2 times we've been out here. But we're coming to a road course. And this is usually the place where Chase Elliott comes out to dominate. Do you think Chase Elliott, well, let me couch it this way. What do you think will stop Chase Elliott from making this 4 straight Hendrick wins? Because I feel like Chase Elliott is probably going to have a shout at winning this.
I don't know, Daryl. There's not a lot of road course ringers I can think of. Maybe Christopher Bell, maybe Martin Truex, maybe Hamlin. There's not a lot of people I can really honestly think of that can give him a run for his money. He's been so dominant on these road courses, it's hard to imagine somebody beating him.
I have to agree with that, just with how good he's been running at these at the road courses lately. He's definitely got the juice in NASCAR when it comes to road courses. Can't wait to see what happens this weekend. This is always a fun race, so cannot wait to see what happens here. Well, I'll say it's always a fun race. A lot of people, it's not the most fun road course we've ever seen, but we'll see how it goes this week. It could be a lot more exciting, I think.
It could be. Definitely. I feel like it will be. So we will see.
As we're getting close to the end of the show, of course, it is a time where we have to make our picks to see who's going to win this week. It is nearest the win. Michael, who you got?
I'm going to... It's Formula One and NASCAR, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to go with Chase Elliott for NASCAR. I usually don't go with Chase Elliott, but I'm just going to go with him. And for F1... I'm going to go with Lewis Hamilton. I think he goes, and we see Angry Hamilton this weekend, and you know how well Angry Hamilton drives. So that's going to be my pick going into the weekend. How about you, Daryl?
Well, mainly because I cannot pick Hamilton this week. I have got Max Verstappen going ahead and extending his advantage by winning in Azerbaijan. On the other side, when it comes to NASCAR, I don't want to pick this guy because I think I know what's coming, because I have Christopher's picks as well, but I can't bet against him at a road course. Chase Elliott takes the win at Sonoma. And the reason I said that, I'll read you Chris's picks. He's got Valtteri Bottas at Azerbaijan.
Ooh, that's different.
Although, he's got a question for our points keeper, Matthew White, and I'll read this out. He says, however, if Bottas is leading and team orders make Lewis win, I want points. I'll let Matt White deal with that. He's also taking Chase Elliott to win at Sonoma.
So Chase Elliott might be jinxed this weekend.
So we're sorry, Chase Elliott fans, for Chase Elliott finishing 33rd in this race, as the IE Sports Radio jinx is now in effect. And T. I'm having a bad day with names and stuff today. I'm so sorry. But that is a USRN specific game that they do over there. That's just a little fantasy game that the other Matthew, because we have two now, Matthew Owens does. So that is it for this episode of The Extra Mile. Michael is at Michael_Wart25. Christopher, even though we didn't have him, is at Fiji Sims. I'm at DK Junior 12. Follow all the IE Sports Radio social media pages on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Also, make sure you follow the website, www.iesportsradio.com. And if you've missed any episode of any IE Sports Radio show, you can find out or you can listen to any episode you may have missed wherever podcasts can be heard. So we're going to go ahead and say goodnight for this evening. For Michael, I'm Daryl. This has been The Extra Mile. We'll see you at the next green flag, everybody. Have a wonderful evening.